Bonsoir, my chers. Good evening. How are you? I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about spiritual alchemy and what we're talking about when we're talking about how to transmute energy and how to like consciously transform energy. So basically, even when it comes down to our own thoughts and emotions and all the stuff that's like going on inside of us and boiling up within ourselves at any given point, all of that is energy. The law of conservation of matter states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So we have this this quantity of stuff in the universe, and we don't get more of it and we don't get less of it. It just changes form constantly. And so it's always recycling itself. It's always upcycling itself. So when we have heavy density in our like lead in our light body or in our soul or in our heart or in our mind that's holding us down, what we want to do is transform this energy into light energy, energy that gives us energy, energy that drives us, that inspires us, that motivates us, that gives us the willpower and the enthusiasm to go on each day and to change and to evolve and to grow in consciousness. But how do you do that? How do you take, let's say, sadness or pain or anger and actually change it into something else? Yeah, you can think about it a lot and you can try to change the way that you think about it, but there's still parts of it that are lingering in your system. You know, there's the leftover chemical buildup in your body. There's the stored memory of it in your cells and in the different layers deeper and deeper within you. So you kind of like got to get all this out. I do want to say before I go into how we can transmute our and alchemize our lead into gold, I want to point out that when an event happens, right? And let's say it's like chaos, like something insane, and there's a lot of energy involved, and it's a chaotic event, and you would perceive it as, say, negative, right? The more powerful this is, like say you got in like a big car accident and it's, you know, this happened to me once. My car started making weird noises and I didn't know like what that meant. I was like, oh no, it's gonna be like an expensive fix. And a couple of days later, I ended up getting in a car wreck, which was like this huge chaotic event. And it was so scary. And I hate being like mixed up in like legal things. Like I was like, it wasn't even my fault, but I was convinced they were gonna like throw me in the slammer, throw the book at me for like being hit and like my car getting totaled. And in the wreck, like all of the like documentation of it got put in wrong. Like the only thing that we had was like a diagram of like the wreck, like what happened, because there weren't any witnesses that came forward. And like the cop like filled out the diagram wrong. It wasn't even remotely like in my favor. And I'm like, this isn't even accurate. But so that was like a big scary thing. However, once it all got ironed out, it actually turned out that I was, you know, like I got a new car and insurance, you know, paid the gap and all that. And so instead of having to keep sinking money into my old car, I was like upgraded to a new car with like lower gas mileage, which was great. So that is an example of a chaotic event that has a lot of power around it, but that can be turned to become a positive event. So I wrote down a note. I'm just going to read it and then kind of unpack that. So chaos does not have power over you. We want to get to a point where chaos does not have power over us, but we take power over the chaos. So no matter what life is bringing us, if we're in a scary situation, we're going to take that scary and we're going to channel it into inspiration. We're going to take that fear that is like, oh, it's going to eat us alive and make us like a nervous wreck. And we're going to channel it into intentional action, right? Because we're releasing that. We're taking all that energy and we're putting it in a gas tank and we're aiming it into something positive, right? So we want to get to the point in our lives where we are having affinity with the creator and the source so that like attracts like. So the more that we have affinity of form with the Creator, the more we attract miracles, because we're living in a miraculous, like magical level of being. So at that point, we don't want to be the effect of the cause, like being affected by life or being affected by the chaos. Because chaos is really just raw potential. It's just raw energy with like no form yet. So it's just like, ah, 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 and we want to grab it and we want to put it into some shape, into some form. And so we want to, when chaos occurs, we don't want to be reactive to it. We don't want it to have power over us. We don't want that chaos to affect our mood, our belief. We don't want it to affect our perception. We just want to say, okay, I see this. We're going to channel all of this power and this force and this momentum of this situation, and we're going to turn it into a positive direction. So the chaos does not hold power or dominion over me. I have power over chaos, and I can use that energy and fuel it into my manifestation. You want to take that energy and you want to ground it in your own energy bank so that you can use it for later. Let's see. Chaos does not disturb my energy or my state of being. When a chaotic event is powerful, it can be turned into power for the good. We want to be a constant channel for that energy to come through and for us to be of service to the Creator. My hair is crazy tonight. It's like, I feel like I've Elaine when she gets stuck in the bagel shop and she's like all steamed and she's waiting for her like punch card for her free sandwich. Okay, so I'm gonna do the thing where I read my little notes and then I will go back and talk about them. That way I won't leave anything out. So how to transmute energy. You can transmute your energy and emotion by sacrificing yourself. Okay, one way to do it. Okay, so this is just an example of a physical way to transmute your energy and emotion. Say you're in like a worked up state, or you've got a lot of like anxiety, or you've got a lot on your mind, right? You can transmute your energy and emotion by sacrificing yourself in exercise. So in religion, in the Old Testament, they always made a sacrifice. When Jesus was crucified on the cross, he was a sacrifice on our behalf. Everything that we do is an exchange. It's an energetic exchange. Jesus's life was payment. It was if you're sacrificing fat or cereals or incenses, those are payment. That is like an exchange of value. I'm giving and receiving. We always want to be giving and receiving. That's that infinity. That's that zoom of the receiving, the pushback of restriction, and then the earning and the strengthening of the vessel to receive the light. So I lost my place in pondering the essence of the cosmos. Okay, oh yeah, I was talking about what sacrifices are, kind of in general. So a sacrifice is like a payment, right? And so you can take the energy during a workout, right? And you're burning your energy, but you're like literally sacrificing yourself. You're burning your own fat in sacrifice. But while you're doing this, it's like your body is really cleansing itself. It's sweating out all the hormones. You're burning off all this stored fat that your body was probably fortifying itself with, right? And so let me go back and read what I was going to read. So you can transmute your energy and emotion by sacrificing yourself in exercise. You are literally sacrificing yourself by burning your own fat. You set your intention beforehand to transmute, to sacrifice your pain or your anger about something and transmute it. You are working that energy out of your system and using it to do something that's good for you. You want to put energy and emotion and get it out of you and create something else with it. And you want to create something good with it so that you've shifted, you've foiled the darkness and you've used it for the purpose of good. While you are exercising, you may notice that you slip into a trance. So set your intention before you go work out or whatever. Like, I want this. I'm setting my intention to invite my subconscious to show me things and realizations that will help me let go of something, or help me move on and relax about something, how to see something more differently, or how to finally like let go of a grudge and just move forward, see the benefit of harmonious unity and peacemaking, see the benefit of letting go of fear, and fearful patterns and scarcity, and feeling stronger and more confident and more self-assured. Okay, so while you're exercising, you may notice that you slip into a trance. During this state, you may have enlightening thoughts or visions. A lot of people are like, well, what is a vision like? Like, is it like a hallucination? And no, to me, a vision is like, we do it all the time. You're driving, you have highway hypnosis, you've been gone for God knows how many hours and miles, and you're like, whoa, I just lived a whole nother life. Like, I was thinking about blah, 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 and I was doing this and that, and I was at the top of my game, and I was just like daydreaming. So it's like that. It's like you're drifting off, and that part of your mind is like playing a movie or whatever, but you're like still operational. It's not like all of a sudden everything around you disappears. It's like you're seeing it from the inside. A friend of mine and I do this all the time when we're like thinking about getting together and hanging out, and we're like, maybe we'll go somewhere, and like one of us will say, well, I had a vision of us doing this, and then we end up doing it, and then like something really cool happens when we follow it. So while you're exercising, you may notice that you slip into a trance. During this state, you may have enlightening thoughts or visions. You can dance with this and lucidly visualize better scenarios for yourself or your desired manifestation. You can visualize yourself becoming more conscious and evolved versions of you, and versions of you that are living the life that you wish you would, keeping the habits you wish you would, having the interactions in an ideal way, being able to express yourself the way that you want. Visualize the kind of shape you want to be in. You can set a vision for yourself and really start to work yourself there. You really can. I mean, I've seen it all, folks. Like, if you believe it, you can achieve it. So one way to transmute energy in general is through working out and exercise, especially like cardio exercise that gets you sweating a lot, and like doing like a repetitive mindless activity that gets you kind of in that trance-like state. Gardening is really great because you are like, it's kind of symbolic. You're like tilling the soil of your soul. You're preparing that to plant seeds in, to grow, right? To grow things that are going to enrich your life and enrich you and enrich those around you and provide nourishment. So, and then you're also pulling the weeds. And I like to think of those weeds as worry, fear, self-defeating tendencies, patterns, any kind of negative self-talk, any gloom and doom and catastrophizing, I'm pulling all of that out when I weed. And I'm not saying it that or like focused on it like crazy. It's just sort of that thing where you set the intention when you start and you invite the soul work to come through. It's like you can really just give minor suggestions to your subconscious. You can just say, this is what I want to do. And you just kind of set your mind there and you start getting to work, and it all starts to like work for you and work with you. Tilling the soil, pulling the weeds, putting the energy back into the love and care of the plants and soil. I remember like 10 years ago, I was gardening and I was working at this like insane like purgatory downtown. I was working at Big River on Lower Broadway and 2nd Avenue. I don't know why I put myself through this. I don't know why I did this to myself. There are so many better places I could have worked, but I think I was so focused in like getting into film full time that I didn't want to like have to like redo my side hustle all over again and keep like finding like another job. I just thought, all serving jobs suck. But it was like in Lower Broadway, there was always like a million things going on, concerts and games, and it was just high volume and turn and burn, and like everything smelled like a ranch all the time. It was horrible. And yeah, I could have left and I didn't, but I would be enraged there. Like what, by the time I left, I was like 2 shades from a straitjacket, y'all. Like I was about to snap. I was about to be like that show Snapped. It was insane. But I remember at the time I would try to, this was like in the early stages of like figuring out like magical practices for myself. But I would, when I would get really overwhelmed or like super mad or frustrated at work or just like, in the weeds, you know, sometimes you're like walking around like this, but in your mind you're going, I can't think, I need something else, like, is the shift almost over? You're like, I've got 17 more hours. But yeah, so when I was in that place, like, I would literally visualize like bright, almost like nuclear blasts of light into my flower beds at home. I would like remotely send my energy into the flower beds. And I feel like they did grow really fast, but they weren't growing like bushy. They were just growing like tall. And I mean, like I got some, you know, some fruit and vegetables and everything like that from it. But I wonder now, was I like eating like anger tomatoes, or like were they affected negatively by that? But I do think that maybe throw like erratic energy not into your plants that you're going to eat, but it's okay to process that gently while you're tilling the soil and pulling the weeds. I also like cleaning as a method to really dig up my subconscious, and to clear out the inner clutter. I like dusting, I like decluttering things, reorganizing, doing a really thorough house clean, because your house is really an extension of your own energy. And once your house is like super clean, it's like your whole aura could just like spread out, be like, you know, it just feels so good once you clean your house. And I'm gonna clean my house tomorrow. I'm gonna go on a big long run, and then I'm gonna go wander through the woods for a long time. Probably take my Delta 8 pen back there. It's going to be fun. So cleaning is a good way to transmute energy. Art is excellent. Self-expression through symbolism, through being blunt, straightforward. We all know how art works, right? Like you have these feelings, you have these thoughts, and you express them through whatever medium you choose. And you know what? Like some people, I mean, like, creativity is a broad spectrum. You know, creativity could be a side hustle, a business. You could be a cook. You know, you could be a painter. You could be a photographer. You could do all those classic artistic endeavors. But it can be, you know, it can range in a lot of ways. My mom is a genius when it comes to curating curios and unusual objects and antiques and then putting them together. Like if you like those curiosity cabinets, you would shit over her house. I mean, she's got a million like antique cabinets, and they're all like full with like the coolest like plates and little like odds and ends and then natural ephemera and all kinds of stuff. I mean, she's collected everything you can imagine. But that's artistic. That's an art. That's a self-expression. Poetry, writing, journaling. Journaling is huge. I can think, like, sometimes I'm not even enthusiastic about sitting down to journal, but once I do, and there's like one little prompt or one little question or one little sentence, I'll start writing it out. And like, you can't overthink it. You have to let yourself automatically write. So don't overthink it. Don't try to edit yourself. Don't try to censor yourself. Just write what's coming up. And it's amazing the insights that come up about things. And it's just like, it just starts spilling out of you. And what you need to do is just get this out. What is within you will destroy you if you don't express it. And that's true for the gifts and the good things inside of you. And it's also true for, you know, the denser, heavier things that you're carrying around inside of you as well. So journaling is excellent to just write about your feelings, or, you know, you can literally write out a question like, what is the root of this? Where did this thought come from? Where did this belief come from? What was the earliest time I can remember feeling abandoned or feeling scarce or feeling like I didn't have what I needed? When was the first time I felt awkward or like exposed or insecure or like super vulnerable? When was the first time I realized that like what was the death of innocence for you? The loss of innocence. For general energy clearing, this has helped me get over like difficult breakups or difficult things that I needed to process, where I was like carrying around a lot of grief, or I needed to cut the cord between me and another person and it was hard to get over them, so I needed to get them out of my system. But salt baths are great for grounding your energy. If you've been like absorbing the energy from a full moon or any kind of lunation or astrological aspects or events, if you've been working with plants or flowers or anything, any time that you are absorbing energy, you need to ground it and store it in your battery. So when you're doing things that get you all worked up and excited and like really build you up, it's really great to ground that down with a salt bath. You want to get Epsom salts. I love Dr. Teal's. They have all of like the best like aromatherapy flavors, and it's like Magick ready to go. They've got shampoos, bubble baths, salts, like all in matching flavors and scents. So I like to use everything. And I think all of their products have a little bit of Epsom salts in them, which I love. So built-in magic on the go. But yeah, throw some crystals in that tub. Surround yourself with crystal grids, specifically the ones that you are working with that are good for specific things. Everything has a frequency. And so this is sort of like thinking about them as energetic vitamins. You know, this isn't necessarily the answer, the cure, but they're helpful. They really are. I've never bought a crystal and something didn't immediately happen that was like pretty good, or like that I could tell was helping me move past something. Crystal grids under your pillow. I use new moon stones and smoky quartz under that pillow to really pull and draw for like 8 hours at a time. You know, it pulls negative energy out and it helps clear things that are unseen. Like the new moon is a stone that represents the qualities of the new moon, and some of the qualities of the new moon, because it's a dark moon, it's all about what is being hidden currently, what's going on beneath the surface that you can't see, because once the moon is full, that's when the light is going to be shown on something and revealed. It's so funny, whenever I'm doing these videos or these readings, I'm always like so belchy. It's like the spirits are moving through me, and the people that I follow, and like I feel like they're always belching too. I'm like, we're all just like the spirits are coming out of us. Yeah, so crystal grids under the pillow at night when you sleep. And then in general energy work, there's so many different modalities and people out there that have their own style or methods. It's follow your own intuition there, honestly. I mean, that's what happened to me. I started getting little Easter eggs here and there, and I would start following them, and eventually that's how I just kept doing like free workshops and anything that I could find, and people would take you through these processes, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, it really does work. It's so crazy. It doesn't seem like anything's happening. And then all of a sudden you'll feel something, or you'll have like a vision, and you're like, whoa, like wasn't expecting that. It's so crazy. Like one of the most unbelievably easy things that I've ever done was read Your Life in Color. Working with color, all you have to do is like be more aware of the color and like surround yourself with it, and whatever that color's power or frequency is, like it'll start immediately. Like me and my friend Tracy were like, we don't want to work with red because it's like immediately like these big like things, like these big emotional healing assignments come up. Usually for both of us, it's around the same archetypal figure in our life, which we're like trying to like, can we just like settle that down, please? But yeah, so energy work is great. Follow your own instincts. Maybe I'll do a video specifically about different kinds of energy work at some point, but for now, I'm just gonna let you start exploring it on your own. I think that that's all I wanted to say, at least for now, about how to transmute energy. I think that'll give you enough to get started. And I've somehow talked about this for 25 minutes. Every time I turn record on, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. How am I even going to get through this? I was like, maybe I can talk for like 5 minutes and I'll just read this and like explain it a little bit. And then it's always like 25 minutes later, like somehow I've done this again. All right, people, we are here. We're getting used to it. All right. I love y'all. We're the most awesome bunch of weirdos. Good night.